Okay, good thing I checked. So we're on, Matt.
Okay, great.
So this is Matt Lombardi of Here at Local, the CEO, right?
Yes.
And co-founder?
Yes.
Co-founder. Okay. So what did you used to do before, Matt?
So before getting Here at Local started, I was a director at a nonprofit called Investor Circle. And at this nonprofit, I had the opportunity to get funding to lots of great early stage companies with a social or environmental mission.
Okay.
So really high social impact companies.
So can you name some of those? And I know, wasn't Zipcar one of them?
It was. So it really was a vast array of companies. And I got to work with over 50 companies that got funded. But some of them include Honest Tea, Zipcar, Nyman Ranch, and several others. And then a lot of clean energy companies that aren't necessarily household names, but are really important nonetheless.
Wow, so you got a real education in this whole world of startups and investing that's so unique to the Bay Area.
It was. It was kind of amazing just working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and mostly at a very early stage. And so these people would just come to us with these really amazing ideas and a lot of passion. And I saw my job as being kind of the matchmaker between the investors that I served and these really cool companies.
Okay, so Matt, I'm going to take you out to lunch because I would like some of your perspective and opinion on the upcoming Artists Who Thrive online course. But I digress. So
okay, great, anytime.
So you and I met through a mutual friend who is an angel investor, in your company Here at Local. Yes. So for those who don't know, a lot of visual artists may or may not be familiar with the term angel investor. Can you give a really brief explanation of what that means?
Absolutely. So most very early stage companies that intend to grow very quickly will work with a few angel investors. And angel investors are investors who invest their own capital versus a VC, which is investing other people's money.
Okay.
And so, the amount invested can be anywhere from, $5,000 to $200,000 from an angel investor.
So it almost implies that they're investing their money out of the goodness of their heart, because I think of wings and angels. Is that the case?
So, not necessarily. I would say angels are often investing because they really believe in a project. They think that they can support it. They have the right expertise.
Right.
And they tend to be much more patient than larger funds and VCs.
Who are looking for immediate performance.
Exactly.
So obviously you had some angel investors get hip to Here at Local and really believe in the concept. And I thought what you were doing, what you were up to, was just so in line with Artists Who Thrive, as I mentioned, because you're circumventing the traditional the music establishment, and I just have to support you as best I can in helping you do that, because I think it parallels what I'm trying to help visual artists do at Artists Who Thrive. So tell us what is Here at Local, and we're going to put a link to your great graphic that explains it really well in a cartoon way, because I love that thing. But
yeah,
just from you, what's your explanation of Here at Local?
Sure. So Here at Local is all about helping musicians and artists. So right now we're really focused on musicians, but we're interested in opening this up to other art forms as well.
Oh, well, we'll have to talk.
So we're all about helping artists get more paying gigs, and making it easier to be a working musician and really survive doing music.
How about, thrive is what I vote for, not just survive, right?
Right.
So tell me, all right, so how do you help them? Give me a mechanical breakdown. If a musician goes to Hear It Local, what are they presented with? How does it help them? Give me an explanation.
So I'd say there are two really important ways that we help musicians. The first way is on our site, hearitlocal.com. And it's a very easy process. If you're a musician, you go there, you create a musician profile, and we make it easy to pull in all of your information from Facebook, from artist data, from SoundCloud, and all of these other services, so that you get a really media-rich calendar that just takes 30 seconds.
Now, what if the musician doesn't feel so technically savvy? Is it still easy to use?
So it's still very easy to use.
Okay.
And you know, what the objective behind the site and that profile is really to make it easy for anyone to discover you and book you for any kind of event. And
okay.
So, you know, one kind of event that we're really excited about, and that's getting a lot of traction on our site, are house concerts.
Yeah, so I want to hear about house concerts because I just know of an example of a house concert. It's actually a venture capitalist here in the Bay Area who is close to a billionaire with a B, and his wife hired Diana Krall to come sing happy birthday to him for $1 million, and then she left.
Yes.
So it's a great example of a house concert. She was here, Diana Krall was here performing in the Bay Area, and she picked up a little extra pocket money. Mm-hmm. So so obviously she has a certain platform. She can command $1 million for singing happy birthday. But the concept, I was familiar with the concept. So break it down. So give me an example. So a musician goes, they fill out their profile on Hear It Local, and then what happens?
Sure. So once they fill out the profile, then we work with them to make sure that their profiles are as media rich as possible. And
okay.
So you'll get lots of great tips from us on the team, and then from there, we are now working with several. We have a large network of music fans who are interested in booking house concerts. We've worked with some major corporations and brands who are interested in booking musicians.
Really? So corporations book musicians, not just private individuals?
Yes, exactly.
Can you give me some examples of why they would be interested in booking a musician?
Sure. So for all kinds of events, for networking events, lots of nonprofits are interested doing nice donor.
Okay.
And there are larger companies like Yelp, for instance. We did a partnership and booked a really big band through our site, 5,000 people that they're staying in. So just what we hear from everyone across the board is that it's really, really difficult to find great musicians.
Oh, really?
And so some of these companies like Yelp, they're saying that they've found musicians playing in the subway, and they were impressed, and they made a booking offer right there because they didn't know where else to find them.
But you're not recommending that playing in the subway as a marketing strategy, though. We don't recommend busking to anyone here.
So, and then the actual booking process is great. It's we really only allow 48 hours to pass before a booking is finalized. So the event organizer or host makes an offer. The artist can then make a counter offer, accept it or decline it.
Okay.
The host accepts the offer.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really cool is the host can then either pay for it directly, pay for it themselves, or they can crowdfund the event.
Oh, cool.
So, if a host doesn't have $300, $400, $500 to put down for this event, they can ask their friends on Facebook to all pitch in $10 a piece, and then it's done.
Okay, so you put the 48-hour window in place. Is that so that the musician isn't waiting around on pins and needles waiting?
Exactly.
Because they do, right? They're wondering if they're going to get the gig or not.
Yep.
And they can't make, I mean, let's face it, musicians sell their time. So if they're waiting for this time slot to be filled, they can't market that time slot to other potential patrons.
That's exactly it.
Okay, so that's great. So that solves that business dilemma for musicians. Another question I have for you, and I want to get into some of the other business dilemmas that Here at Local solves for musicians. But give me a sense of what is the average paying gig in here, like just for example, I'm sure it's different in each market, but let's just say here in San Francisco, what's the average pay for like an individual musician?
Right, so I'd say it depends on what kind of event it is, and I break it down into two different kinds of events. So one, major category are the house concerts.
Right.
So typically, those go for around $300.
Okay.
If the band is larger and it's a peak night, it can be more than that, but I'd say on average around $300.
And how long are they playing for in that average scenario?
That's really interesting. It's typically set up so that it's a shorter period of time, and so it's usually 2 20 or 25-minute sets, or 1 40 to 45-minute set.
Okay, all right.
And that tends to be most effective because the event hosts are usually doing this as more of a party, with music being a major feature and the main focus for that 45 minutes.
Okay.
People want to talk and mingle and chat with the artist as well.
Okay.
So it's important to build in that time as well.
So one of the challenges I know that I've heard from musicians is if they're playing in a cafe or a club, they can turn into background noise, and they really don't have an attentive audience. And with your format, is that the case? Are they background music, or are they?
No. So offers might come through our system, and it will say up front whether this is they're looking for background music, or if they're looking for a third musician. And the vast majority of the bookings that come through our system are more of people wanting an actual private concert in their living room or backyard.
Okay.
And what's great about that is it means that everyone and all the guests are focused on the music and the work of the musician. And it also means for the musician that they tend to build a much better connection and
relationships
with all of the guests, and there's time to chat with them before and after. The guests, the music fans, that's huge. That's amazing. That's amazing
right.
to get when you go to see music at clubs or bars. But what also happens is the musicians tend to sell 3 times as much merch at these smaller.
Oh, yay! That's so cool. Okay. So for those musicians who don't have merch, you better get some, right?
Exactly. And so it's been, we had so much success with these house concerts on our site here at Local that we then got a lot of good feedback from all of the artists who were on board and working with us. And they're saying, I love what you're doing, and it would be amazing if you could help me reach out to my fans, to my existing fans.
Right.
Make it easier for them to book me for events.
Right.
So that's when we decided to develop a Facebook app.
Okay.
So the Facebook app is a really easy app to install on a musician's Facebook page.
Okay.
Once they install the app, then all of a sudden all of their fans can book them for house concerts and events right through their Facebook page.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So they can go directly to Here at Local, or they can use the Facebook app as a way to access bookings. All right. So let's talk turkey. Who's getting paid what and when, and break that down, because that's what we care about here at Artists Who Thrive.
Of course. So for house concerts, it's on average $300 to $350 per house concert, but it varies, of course. Some have gone for $600, $700.
Okay.
Some for just $100. And then Those range from $1,000 to $2,000.
So it sounds like corporate events are the place to focus your attention if you're interested in increasing your sales.
Yes, they are great, but you don't necessarily build a really strong fan base at those events.
I see.
Or background music, and you're usually not allowed to sell any merch. So when you play house concerts, you can build out your email list, build out relationships, and those fans that you meet there really typically become diehard fans, and then there's a great opportunity for you to get more house concerts.
Right.
All of the guests at that one house concert that you play at.
Okay.
But the upfront pay for larger corporate events are it's much more, and it's a great gig.
Right.
It's not necessarily about fan building.
Right. Okay. So good. Thank you for describing those the benefits of those two different markets. I was just kind of curious. How did you were working at a nonprofit in the world of investing here in San Francisco Bay Area, which we're both at, by the way. It's raining, isn't it? It's like really.
I know.
What?
It's pretty wretched today.
What's going on? Where are you located? What am I looking at there in the background?
Oh yeah, so we are right in downtown San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Are you on Market Street?
So we're really close to Market Street.
Oh, okay.
But this is Montgomery Street.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know where you're at. Not that anybody else cares, but I'm curious. So, I want to talk to you just real briefly. So you have a friend who's a musician. You co-founded this company, and what I always like to share with artists is that business is very creative, just like art, right? And so you had this you obviously had an initial conversation with a friend, and that morphed into a business. So just really briefly, would you share that inspiration for Here at Local?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've always been a really big music fan. Music has been really important to, my families. There's always live music happening on our back porch and during summers at the beach house. And it's, always just been a really big part of my life.
And you have sisters who are visual artists, right?
Yes, all of my sisters are.
Wow.
And so I have four sisters. And so, art and music have been a common thread. And, I moved to San Francisco about 6 years ago from New England. Mm-hmm. And when I moved to San Francisco, realized it was really hard to find great music here, not because it didn't exist. We have an incredible music scene here. But
right. We do. The Fillmore, we have lots of history.
Yes, lots of history and lots of great music happening now. But
Haight Street. Oh God, there's so much history.
That's right, and it's all over. But unless you know people that are really on the inside of the music scene, it's actually pretty hard to find.
Right.
I met my business partner, who's been a friend for years. He was a musician in Minneapolis, and was able to play at all the music venues there because he had a very solid fan base. Moved to San Francisco, and he had a hard time getting his foot in the door.
So you just created a new door.
Yeah, really. And then of course talked to other music fans, other musicians who found it was really hard. For musicians, it was hard to get paying gigs. It was
right.
hard to connect with their fans. For fans, it was hard to find where all of the great local talent, play.
Right.
And so that's why we decided to start here.
Wow, that's great.
And then sort of the most important thing that I think we did, the one thing that we did really right was to listen to all of the musicians and fans who ended up, getting on board and wanted to support our work. So just by listening to their needs, which evolved over time, that's really when we developed the booking platform, the Facebook app, and we're working on a third thing that's coming out really soon that we're excited about.
What is it?
So that's going to be a booking widget that
Oh, cool.
put on their websites, and we're working with some new partners, and we have not publicly announced who those partners are, but we will soon.
Good. Okay.
Make it easy for fans to hire artists for any kind of event, no matter where they find those artists online.
You know, one thing we didn't cover, and I always got to talk turkey, is what's the cut? You obviously need to get paid. So, what's the cut?
So we take under 10% cut.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty damn good.
That takes place, and we find that tends to be very reasonable. It of course covers all of the credit card processing
Right.
fees,
Right.
and so yeah, that's what we charge.
And what does an agent usually take in terms of, or a music company? Can you give us some percentages?
Yeah, much more than that. Average is between 15 and 20%.
Right, and there's also other complications too, but we won't go into that. I think musicians are fairly familiar with that. So I understand you're going to talk to my friend Jonathan Fields. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are connecting.
Yes.
Good.
So that's fantastic, and he seems to be he's an amazing author and speaker, and he's working with a community of authors.
Yes.
And so there could be some really interesting ways
Good.
for them down
Okay.
the road as well.
Okay, great. Well, good. I'm glad. So I want to thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story. And this will be going up on Artists Who Thrive so that people can tune in. And I am gonna take you up on that. I'm gonna take you to lunch. I'm gonna talk to you.
Okay, great.
All right, Matt. You have a great day. Stay dry.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye.